It is with the heaviest of hearts that I stand before the women and the girls of South Africa this evening to talk about another pandemic that is raging in our country: the killing of women and children by the men of our country. I am appalled at what is no less than a war that is being waged against the women and the children of our country. At a time when the coronavirus pandemic has left us all feeling vulnerable and uncertain, violence is being unleashed on the women and children of our country with a brutality that defies any form of comprehension.
Stop killing us! 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 Stop killing us!
Violence against women is a global phenomenon. There is literally no country in this world where this is not at epidemic levels. And the WHO's work substantiated when it came to intimate partner violence and non-partner sexual violence that on average 1 in 3 women will experience those at some point in her lifetime, anywhere in the world. The idea that we have socially that women are abusable and that's okay is actually embedded in our social, political, legal, economic systems everywhere. And that's really important to remember. Also because it's quite common for Africa to be framed as sort of the worst place, you know, for these issues. And I think that's unfair because actually they're global phenomena. As we know, South Africa, you know, is often called kind of the rape capital of the world, etc. But we have to remember the legacy of violence that has framed the history of South Africa. And actually, it's an incredibly violent society in general. And so it's no surprise that in addition to, you know, again, what is common everywhere in the world, there are also incredibly, even higher rates of violence against women because of the legacy of apartheid, the deep inequalities that it created, the deep violence that remains in people's psyches and in social relations, and the way that that's being perpetuated in the structures, even in the post-apartheid era.
Look, we have a very high rate of gender-based violence cases. I mean, we recently got the police stats earlier this week. Sitting on just the past year, 2019 to 2020 report, over 52,000 cases just of rape. And then there's common assault, there's murders, and there's other forms of violence that have been reported to the South African Police Services.
What we know for sure, though, is that in any time of, strain in communities, in any society, whether it's an economic issue or in this case, it's a health issue, we know that that negative impact will always fall disproportionately on women or people who are already vulnerable or marginalized, right?
We have 5 times the global average of femicides. That is of huge concern to me. That there are countries that are currently at war that kill less women than South Africa.
So, for example, a lot of, still across the African continent, the majority of services to respond to violence are actually run by women's organizations. They're not run by government, right? But there we've seen some amazing, development, for example, of counseling methodologies that are women-centered, pro-feminist, supportive of women's transformation, acknowledging that women are not to blame and all of that.
Stop killing us! Stop killing us! Stop killing us! Stop killing us!
Last year in 2019, there was a march to the Johannesburg Stock Exchange again because women were feeling that big business needs to come to the party. The fact that the majority of the workforce in South Africa are women and Black women, their silence was basically unacceptable, and that's why people went there. The other problem is that the efforts and solutions around gender-based violence and any women-related issues basically are not resourced well. And so part of the march was to say that there needs to be resource mobilization to support all of the efforts on the ground around gender-based violence and femicide. And the money that you speak to, the 1.6 billion rands, the president committed that in his presidential emergency response plan for GBV. All of these violations that we speak about are human rights violations. It's not women or children or gay people asking for favors. This is about human rights, and we need to respect each other's human rights.
Again, violence against women exists because patriarchal power and culture says that it's fine. In fact, it's one of the key tools for keeping women in our place in patriarchal systems, right? So violence against women is at the core of patriarchy.